Lindsay, this thing is wide open. We've got some of the best skateboarders on the planet trying to get through the semis here tonight to the final. Immediately following it, we take a look now. We've got 12 skaters, 2 heats of 6 each, 18-minute jam session per heat. And we take the top 3 from each one of those to get into the final.
It's anybody's game right now. These girls are so good. We've got veterans, we've got rookies, and I couldn't even pick 3 from each heat.
Yeah, remember Brighton Zoyner, our gold medalist the last 2 years, an ankle injury sidelining her. She will not be competing tonight. Here's a look at start list for heat number 1. Some great names, including our bronze medalist from last year, Sakura Yosizumi.
Alongside some of those youngins like Skye Brown and Kokona. I mean, Poppy, she's been out here for a few years at X Games, and it's just anybody's game. This is going to be an awesome contest.
We kick things off with the 15-year-old from Hawaii, Cody Tamanaha.
Starting out backwards, shoving her board around.
Tamanaha earning her way in through the Road to X Games qualifier in Boise, Idaho just a month ago.
You know, we say it all the time, but man, being the first one to drop in is just so nerve-wracking. She's doing a great job staying on her board, putting together a solid run.
Sponsored and mentored by Christian Hosoi. And final 3 seconds for Cody's first run. And we are underway here on heat number 1 of Women's Skateboard Park, and dropping in for her very first X Games, 11-year-old Skye Brown.
I love how she starts with that 360 over the spine. I don't see any other girls doing that. She goes as high as anybody, and she's one of the teeniest ones out there.
She skates, she surfs, she won Dancing with the Stars juniors. Just a ball of positivity, Skye Brown.
So much talent. Blasting that backside air.
Craig McMorris, you're out on the course. Was Skye all smiles leading into this contest, or what?
All smiles, and all smiles after that.
Backside 540 into kickflip fakie. Wow, starting out this contest with a bang. Overcoping, which can be hard to do, grabbing early like that, but that she might be the only girl I've seen do a frontside 540 like that in competition.
It's low, but she's able to land it. So
I mean, it was overcoping. That's huge.
Here's Kokona. She's not even yet 11 years old, Lindsay. Making her X Games debut. You're going to hear us say that a lot in these 2 semifinal heats. We have so many X Games rookies.
We have a ton of rookies out here, but don't be fooled by the fact that you have not heard of them yet, because you will remember them after this.
She was 2nd place at our 2019 park qualifier in June.
Linz, how about Kokono stepping up to that rainbow rail? That thing is beefy, almost up to her neck.
Yeah, that rail is super high, and rails are usually not something you see on a park course, so that shows us that she's pretty well-rounded and throwing that rail into her run.
Making her 4th X Games appearance, Poppy Olson. She does have a bronze medal from 2017.
Getting inverted in the deep end there. Poppy is such a powerful skater. I love to watch her skate. She skates with speed and force.
Which, Linz, is extremely hard to do in this bowl, in this park course, if you will. You had a chance to skate it, correct? Hard to keep speed up.
I did have a chance to skate it, and yeah, there's kind of a lot of flat bottom and a lot going on, so it takes a lot of thinking to get your line in a way that you generate speed from each trick and each wall.
And Poppy Olson's first run done. We talk about the bowl, Leticia Buffoni and Chloe Kim. X Games
Superstars.
snowboard superstar on hand here for the summer edition. Keanu Ogawa, 18 years old. We saw her in 2017. She took a 7th place finish. We did not see her last summer here at US Bank Stadium.
She's had a strong presence in the contest scene lately. Also another one of those powerful skaters. I think what we're noticing lately in the contest is that some of the younger girls just don't have that power because they're so much littler. So these bigger girls have a completely different skating style.
It's crazy to think about at 18. She's the 2nd oldest in this heat. Poppy Olson is 19.
Wow.
So Sakura Yosizumi, 17 years old, in her X Games debut last summer, took home the bronze, Lindsay.
And she's definitely a threat for gold this year.
And you got a chance to talk to the ladies, skate with the ladies, their impression of this new jam format.
You know, I think that they like the opportunity to have a few more runs than they normally would. And it takes a little bit of the stress off. It's a little more easygoing than the best run counts format.
The traditional run format.
Yeah.
It certainly speeds things up and in the process able to get more runs in. So we're under 13 minutes to skate with here. Cody Tamanaha with her 2nd run.
Linz, talk to us a little bit about this strategy. It's a semifinals. You just have to get top 3 out of 6. So you do you go all in? Do you bring everything right out the gate to guarantee yourself, or do you kind of judge what people are doing and then build your run after that?
I think that most of these girls are pretty strategic, where they watch what everyone's doing and base their runs a little bit off that to figure out what they need to make it into the final. But at the same time, all of these girls are so good that they need a lot to get into the semifinals. Wow, Skye Brown airing over the rail. That rail's practically neck high on her. That was huge.
You just saw 2 things. The current leaderboard right now, Skye Brown leading the way, and you just saw that youngest chart. You just saw 4 names. They're all competing tonight. Kokona, who's next to drop in, by competing in this contest, officially becomes the youngest ever female to compete at X Games in history.
That's a huge title.
And it would not shock any of us, Lindsay, if she's skating in the final and possibly gets on the podium.
I totally agree with you, and that would be another record if she podiums here tonight.
Well, these ladies are in a record-breaking
Oh,
mood
doing
tonight.
the board side on the rail, right into a backside flip. Not staying on that backside flip, but this little girl is one of the more technical and well-rounded skaters out there today with that rail and the backside flip on the bank.
Poppy Olson currently sitting in 2nd place. And Kiana rounding out our top 3 right now.
Starting out with that Smith grind, locking it in. Going over the doorway, oh. Just stepping off her board. But in this overall impression format, that's not the end of the world for her to fall on that.
It takes a great mental game to, you know, put one run down, fall, put one run down, fall. You have to be very present with every single run, because just because you fall, that doesn't mean anything. You've still got so many more runs to go.
Yeah, it's kind of like that mentality when you're in a, I don't know, in a traditional sports setting, and even if you score a goal, you got to restart 0-0, 0-0. You know, every time you drop in, you got to think 0-0.
So Kiana got bumped out of that 3rd spot by Kokona from her previous run. Can she get back into the top 3
that
as we
backside flip
close in on the halfway point of this first heat jam?
You know, those backside flips that these girls are doing are risky, but the reward and the impression they're going to make on the judges with that is probably worth the risk, and that's why they're doing it.
So Sakura went down early on her 1st run. Can she clean it up here on her 2nd attempt with under 9.5 to skate?
Lynn's already looking so much stronger. Started off with that back disaster, Smith, and then that back 50 to fakie. Wow.
Yeah, those are so gnarly, especially through the corner and in the deepest part of the park. Stepping off that fly out to lip slide.
A ton of first and second place finishes all year long on the contest circuit for Sakura. Right now she's trying to jump up into that top 3. The same can be said for Cody Tamanaha. And this contest is flying, gang. Already runs number 3 here in this first heat jam.
Wow, that board slide through the corner is beautiful. She locks in and slides it so far. You know, every inch that they slide or grind, the further they go, the more points, well, not points, but the more impression they're making on the judges.
Right, we talk about overall impression, and it feels so subjective to talk about that conceptually. What does that mean to you, Lindsay Adams-Hawkins-Pastrana?
To me, it means variety of tricks, use of course, height, length of grinds and slides. You know, what kind of risk are you taking? You know, to me, that means the height, or are you spinning? Are you flipping your board? Are you using a feature that no one else is using? You know, there's a lot to it, and every skater has their own unique style, so it's really hard. Sometimes it's like judging apples to oranges. There's that huge air over the rail again by Skye. I just love to watch her skate because although she's little, she's so mighty and she's got so much pop.
Skye Brown sitting in first place. Sakura, by the way, jumping up into the top 3.
Linz, you mentioned that risk-taking, that creative factor. Skye Brown is adding all of those to all these rides.
Oh my gosh, that nose grind. She's definitely, although she can't hear me, taking all the advice I just gave.
I'll pass it along, Linz.
Yeah, thanks.
11 years old, 4'5", Skye Brown is leading Heat 1 at the X Games.
Yes, oh my gosh. That frontside 540 is so gnarly.
That was clean. Let's take another look.
That nose grind is more like an overcurve. She pops it back in, locking in on that front truck is so gnarly. That frontside 540. See how blind it is when she comes in? She has to be fully committed because that last turn, you don't see anything. You just have to have faith in yourself and stomp it.
So here's Kokona trying to jump back up into the top 3 and get herself into the finals conversation.
And it's hard to tell by that angle, the camera angle underneath there, but that backside nose grind is one of the gnarliest things any of those girls are doing out there, especially over the doorway. Oh, stepping off that board slide again.
Tough break for Kokona. Poppy Olson sitting in second place. And again, you don't see a score after each run. She may have an idea of where she is, but she doesn't necessarily have a clear path on what she can do to top Skye Brown at this point, but right now she's safe in that top 3.
Locking into that feeble, taking her foot off there over the hip. I feel like she's getting a lot more tricks in than everybody else because of that powerful, speedy style she's got. And that makes a difference. Every trick is a chance to impress the judges. Big styly backside air, poking out her back foot, hanging on to that entire run.
And again, given all of the new blood in this contest, you're talking about the most seasoned skater in this heat with 3 X Games under her belt.
Yeah. It's crazy when the veterans and the seasoned riders are still teenagers.
So true. So here's Keanu Ogawa trying to jump up into the top 3 with under 5 minutes to skate with. You see she's currently sitting in 6th place.
Oh, no. That frontside feeble is a gnarly one. It sometimes can lock up like it did for her and just kick you right off the board.
So Sakura Yosuzumi, 17 years old, clinging to that third and final spot. Can she give herself a little more breathing room?
Oh, backside three, a huge backside three. I think that's definitely gonna help. You know, when the jump box is that small, it's basically blind until the end. And so it's one of those things, like I said, with Skye's frontside five, that it's full commitment. You just have to put it down right away.
And Lindsay, Sakura is just stacking. You see it, she's getting better with each run here tonight.
There's that backside three. So blind in the beginning, but then at least you can see it at the end. She just stomps it.
So Cody Tamanaha. And by the way, with that, Sakura takes over the top spot. Skye Brown now in second, Poppy Olson in third position.
Oh, wow. Smith the fakie coming in backwards.
Linz, I want to talk to you about that leaderboard right now. Sakura and Skye, both doing, I would say, you know, very, very technical, but I think the thing that separates Sakura is everything she's doing is way above the coping, you know? She's just going that much bigger. Not saying Skye isn't, but Sakura definitely going bigger.
Yeah, Sakura's definitely going bigger, and that is a huge factor in overall impression, like I was saying. Well, at least to me it is.
Same here.
And Skye continuing to write her name in the history books. We've been so excited about her frontside five. She's only the second woman to do that at an X Games. Of course, Saber Norris did the backside five last year. So it's the first time we've seen frontside 540 by a woman at the X Games. And this crowd at US Bank Stadium is loving Skye Brown.
You know what? She can just turn it on when it comes to contest time. I didn't see a lot of those in practice, but when it comes to contest, even though she's young, she knows what to do and how to turn it on.
There is something very special about this young lady.
Oh. And just laughing and having fun the whole way. I love seeing that infectious smile she's got her whole run.
Kokuna Hiraki.
Teeny but mighty, that backside nose grind kills me. It's so sick. That's such a tough trick. Balancing on your front truck like that, to me, is so much harder than if you're just doing a backside 5-0 or something. And the way she pops in, you have to really pop to get your back truck in without hanging up. Oh, getting her board slide. Oh, and the backside kick flip on the bank. Finally putting down the run she's been looking for this whole time. That frontside nose grind around the corner there.
Linz, the audacity to take the most technical tricks, and yeah, maybe you fall on one or two, but just keep going, keep pushing. You know you're going to get them. Kokono, she gets it.
The youngest female competitor in X Games history stomps out her best run of the night.
There's that board slide right up into that backside flip. Oh, look at that flick. Not landing perfectly, but that's what it's all about, is being able to adapt and readjust and ride away.
I'm with you, Craig. The audacity. I mean, that was offensively good. So here's Poppy Olson. She's sitting in third. Nope, not anymore, because Kokuna takes over second place, bumping Skye Brown down into third.
And Poppy's in the middle of this run, doesn't even know that she was bumped out. And that will be her last run, as the time has run out for this heat. We'll finish off the roster.
Kiana and Sakura will still get runs, but here is Keanu Ogawa. She's on the outside looking, and still, the level of skateboarding in this heat has been undeniable, and we still have another semifinal to go, Lindsay.
This isn't even the final, but it could have been.
So Ogawa with 30 seconds to skate with, Sakura leading the way, Kokuna, the 10-year-old, in second, and the 11-year-old Skye Brown sits in third.
Keanu has to take some risks right here.
Yeah, she's coming up with that kickflip. Oh, not quite getting it.
And a tough go for Ogawa. And we turn our attention now to our current leader, Sakura Yosuzumi. She is safe. This is the final run of heat number 1 here in the Women's Skateboard Park Semis.
Oh, getting that backside 360 again. I wonder if she even realizes that she is already in the top spot.
Well, in the event that she does, Lindsay, how did you handle situations like this during your skate career, your contest career, when you knew you had the lead, say, in a qualifier? Did you give away all your tricks, or would you try to hold something back for the final?
I would hold something back for the final, but honestly, the way she's skating, I think she doesn't realize.
You might be right.
I would still take the run, but if I had more to give, I'd wait for the final.
So the leaderboard disappears. We will wait for the official standings. Sakura Yosuzumi, Kokono Haraka, and Skye Brown round out our top 3. They will be moving on to the final. Wow.
That means top 3 from this heat. We're all born in Japan.
Absolutely unreal. Sakura, our bronze medalist from last year, has our top spot. She is skating with so much momentum. Heat number 2 from X Games Minneapolis when we return. That is how you film a course preview, shot entirely on an iPhone. Welcome to night 2 here at X Games Minneapolis. We're in the midst of our semifinals of the Women's Skateboard Park, live from US Bank Stadium. What's happening, everybody? Brandon Graham joined alongside the legend Lindsay Adams, Hawkins Pastrana, and of course Craig McMorris reporting all night long from the course. Heat 1 just wrapped up, and that could have been a final, Lindsay Adams, Hawkins Pastrana.
Yeah, that was insane skating. It's crazy to me to think only 3 get to move on, but that's the way it is. And the next 3, I mean, it could be any of the girls out of this heat.
Yeah, we're really excited for this heat number 2 here at US Bank Stadium because there are some amazing names, including a young lady that is going to really take skateboarding by storm She's 13 years old. Masuku Okamoto, who earned her way to X Games Minneapolis in our Road to X Games qualifier in Boise, Idaho, just a couple of months ago.
I mean, look at that air. She blasts airs face high. She has technical tricks. She slides her tricks. She goes high. It's just, she blows my mind.
All of 4'7", 13 years old. Many are predicting a gold medal, not in the future, but perhaps now. What to look for here tonight? 5 represent Japan. That's the most in the field. We've got our youngest field in X Games history. That is not a typo, 16.2 average age. That also is not a typo. Kokona, 10 years old, 11 months. She becomes the youngest woman in X Games history, and she earned a spot to the final with her skating in heat number 1.
Yes, she did, alongside an 11-year-old and our last year's bronze medalist, Sakura. It's just, it blows my mind. I can't even contain myself with how excited I am at the progression and at seeing these veteran girls out here mixed in with the rookie girls. I mean, we've got so many rookies out here today, but any of them could win gold.
Well, a look back at semi-final heat number 1. Sakura Yosizumi, as you said, our bronze medalist from last year, actually our only podium finisher from last year here tonight, and she really picked up where she left off in Minneapolis last year, Lindsay.
Absolutely. Busting those huge backside threes, just going super high, doing technical tricks. You see her hugging Skye Brown there, who also made it to the finals from heat 1.
So with heat 1 in the books, we'll also show you a look at our format tonight. We've got 12 athletes, 2 heats of 6. First heat already done. We're on to heat number 2. They'll be skating in an 18-minute jam, and the top 3 from this one will be meeting the top 3 from heat 1 and our final immediately following this.
So one thing to take note of with this format is that these girls in heat 2, they skate this heat and then they go straight into the final. So they don't have as much of a break. But they did get to watch the first heat and see what people are doing, how people are placing based off their runs. So that's also a little bit of an advantage.
So a look at our start list for heat number 2. Obviously, we talked about Masuku. Nicole Haas, keep your eyes on her. She is the local girl. We'll have the loudest cheering section here because she's from Stillwater, Minnesota. Craig, tell me about the crowd out here for Nicole Haas.
I mean, they're losing their minds. In the words of Drake, R&B superstar, she at home now. She at home now. She's skating so well. It's fun to watch. And if the semifinal 1 was foreshadowing semifinal 2, high-level skateboarding is what we will get.
I was told her mom, Missy, requested 189 tickets for tonight. The cheering section is going to be so loud for Nicole Haas. But we kick off heat number 2 with Mamita Zuka, 17 years old.
So some of the things that the judges look for in this overall impression format is use of course, length of grinds and slides, height of tricks, you know, style. Oh my gosh. So she's been using the course differently than anybody in heat 1 thus far, getting up onto that ledge, coming back in, even her starting trick with that pop up onto the side of the spine ramp. This is gonna really make an impression on the judges.
Mommy earning her way into Minneapolis from our Road to X Games qualifier in Boise. She was evaluated by X Games Medical in practice earlier tonight for a right ankle sprain. They cleared her and she's out here tonight.
There's that big old launch up to that box and popping back in, which is so scary because you have to make it over that coping. If you don't, you hang up and slam to the bottom.
So here's 21-year-old Nicole Haas out of Stillwater, just 25 minutes outside of Minneapolis.
To the crowd. Starting out with that invert. Oh, stepping off.
So much style, so much amplitude to her skating. It's her 4th X Games appearance, yet to find the podium though, Lindsay.
She's kind of one of those skaters that that goes full in. All or nothing type of mentality when she's in a contest.
Here's another young lady making her X Games debut. She was an alternate 2 years ago. Now she's in the big show. 13-year-old Minna Stess.
Minna's one of the ones that we've been seeing kind of creeping her way up to the ranks the past few years. She's grown about a foot in the last year, which is giving her a lot more power in her skating, a lot more height in a lot of her tricks.
She's got a bag of really cool tricks. We saw her at our Road to X Games qualifier. She'll try to clean things up on her second run. We move on to Bryce Wettstein out of Encinitas, California, 15 years old. She also is making her X Games debut. She was a park alternate last summer. So many rookies out here tonight, Lindsay.
So many rookies. So Bryce in practice, she likes to do everything piece by piece. And you think, man, she just doesn't really have her run together, but she puts it all together, strings it together in the contest, and always blows our minds with what she can put together. This 50-50 to fakie she does is so amazing. It's so hard to come out of that backwards like she does into that fakie 360.
Great skater, great surfer, also a terrific volleyball player.
And a singer. She has songs on iTunes. She's legit.
Leave some talent for the rest of us, Bryce.
Right. Artist. She does it all.
So we move on to Lizzie Armanto. This is her 5th X Games appearance. She won this back in 2013 at X Games Barcelona.
Rolling in with speed and confidence. That lean to tail. She just has such poised style. Big old backside air, tweaking it out. That's something the judges look for, is style.
Lizzie had an amazing part for Thrasher that came out last month, High and Dry. Contests don't define Lizzie Armanto's skate career.
No, not at all.
But we know what she's capable of. Can she put it together on this stage and move on to the finals?
Getting that eggplant. So the eggplant is one of the hardest of the hand plants, because instead of grabbing with your front hand and landing on your backhand, which makes sense because it's trailing behind you, you grab with your backhand and you have to land on your front hand and then pop in and not hang up and not trip over your front hand, basically.
So here is Masuku Okamoto. If you've never watched this young lady skateboard, you are in for a treat.
Look at that tweak over and he did the extension. I can't even, I just want to, I don't know. Oh,
she's making her X Games debut, Lindsay, and she is completely in control right now.
Absolutely. Big old tail smacker. Just everything she does, she puts her own style and flair into. And oh my gosh, here comes a 540!
Like it was
Huge
nothing.
540, way over the coping, into the tail slide. She's just nonstop.
Sabre Norris made history when we saw her put that 540 down last summer. Skye Brown did it in Heat 1, and now Masuku brings it to the X Games. I mean, left no doubt about it.
Nope, look, she spots it and has so much time to set it down and even has speed out of it.
So with that, Masuku, as you see, takes the overall lead with Mami in second and Bryce Wettstein in third, but you'll see a lot of ping pong on that scoreboard all night long. And again, it should be noted, Lindsay, no Sabre Norris, no Brighton Zoyner, who got injured that ankle right before X Games.
Yeah.
She had won back-to-back gold medals here in Minneapolis. If Lizzie doesn't win, we'll see a brand new gold medalist for the first time in this event here in Minneapolis.
Big, huge backside ollie by Nicole.
So Nicole Haas trying to put a run down here in semifinal heat number 2.
Huge frontside air. Oh. Taking all the risk by going so high
So Minnestas out of Petaluma, California, dropping in for her second attempt.
You know, Minna has a private bowl skate park of sorts in her backyard. And so when she comes out to these big events, and there's so many skaters wanting to drop in at once in practice, it's really stressful, and it's hard for her to adjust to that. So being a rookie, you know, she's still learning how to practice with all that pressure. But she's obviously doing a great job putting together an awesome run right now. Popping up into that lip slide. Coming in backwards.
And again, it's so tough. So many of these girls, so young, so small, trying to build up that speed in this bowl.
Absolutely, and even though she's grown in height, she's still working on gaining that muscle and that power.
So here's Bryce Wedstein. She's holding on to that third spot that would get her into the final. Hey, Craig.
Hey, Brandon.
Can we get a vibe report from you? We have seen 2 540s here in the women's park semifinals. We're not even in the final yet.
Vibes are high with tricks like that, bonus to front disaster. I do love, though, when Nicole Haas is dropping in, the signage that she has got in the stands is remarkable. Very creative people here supporting Nicole Haas. But we got a run right here, Bryce.
Oh, that fakey 360. Oh.
So Bryce
T-bowl is such a rad trick.
Bryce is holding on to that third spot. We talk about the Japanese invasion of this discipline. Right now, Bryce is currently the only skater not born in Japan in a position for the final. Chew on that for a second. Obviously, that can change when someone like Lizzie Armanto out of Santa Monica, California, can drop in for her second run.
Lynn's in practice. She was doing a frontside invert. Oh, wow.
Oh,
okay,
whoa,
not there.
That was amazing. Airing up into that invert. I don't know that I've ever seen a girl do something like that. That blew my mind. It makes me want to go learn it. There's that frontside invert you were just talking about. That's something that barely any girls do. It's, like I said, one of the hardest inverts is the eggplant that she did. She fell on before in that frontside invert.
And I like her approach because in this overall impression, when everybody's killing it, what you have to do is set yourself apart. What does Lizzie do? She does a bunch of hand plants that none of the other girls are doing, and you know that will be in the judge's mind when they toss the score.
There's no doubt, no one takes a more unique path than just about any bowl she competes in.
This is so rad.
That slow-mo shot is unreal. Right in front of Craig McMorris's face, by the way.
Being able to spot that and get your hand on the coping, definitely impressed.
And Lizzie Armanto bumps out Bryce Wedstein for that third spot. But now our current leader, Masuku Okamoto, goes down hard.
Little ninja doing a back roll at the end.
Good to see her pop up quick, hoping she's okay. We'll take another look. What happens here, Lindsay?
See, like I said, it's blind in the beginning, but then you see it in the end, and she just didn't quite land with the weight distribution right.
Lynn, she was almost too committed. Too much weight on the front foot.
Yeah.
Well, Bryton Zoyner will not be able to defend her gold medal. So we're guaranteed a new gold medalist here at X Games Minneapolis. Who's going to take the mantle? We find out when we return. Heat 2 rolls on here in the women's skateboard park semifinal. Mamita Zuka, who was in the top 3 early in this contest, is now on the outside looking in, Lindsay.
Oh, that Smith grind is so textbook. If you keep an eye on her back foot, just the way she locks in, she holds her front down, doesn't slip out. Oh, it's amazing. Oh, there's an invert.
And this is some kind of session. As we've said, the elevation of skateboarding over these two semifinal heats is really unlike anything we've ever seen before. And that's no cliche. I think we're being completely honest about the level of skateboarding out here tonight. When you think about somebody like Nicole Haas, who's so supremely talented, not in the top 3.
Yeah, there's that huge frontside air. Just coming off it again.
Just continues to give her fits, Lindsay. So we're closing in on the 7-minute mark. Lizzie Armanto holding on to that 3rd spot to get into the final. Can Minna Stess join the conversation?
Big old backside air by Minna. Into that backside air over the hip. You can tell how hard she's working to pump and get the speed to continue skating around this course.
Minna was an alternate. It was really Brighton's injury that opened the door for her to get to X Games Minneapolis to compete.
She's just been so pumped to be here and to know that she's competing this year for the first time.
She was actually the first competitor here in Minneapolis. She got those distinct honors. Here's Bryce Wetstein, who Lizzie Armanto bumped out of that 3rd spot on her previous run. Can Bryce get back in?
Lip sliding. Big extended boneless to frontside disaster. That's something that I don't see anyone else do. And that's what you need in these overall impressions. You want to do tricks that no one else is doing.
Well, that's the game plan that Lizzie Armanto used to bump her out. Can she return the favor right now?
Nice lean to tail in the deep end there. She's definitely been adding to her previous runs.
And really just a great night so far for Bryce Wetstein. She's really skated well.
X Games Minneapolis is brought to you by Harley-Davidson. Enlighten your thrills at h-d.com/xgames. And Pacifico Beer. Live life anchors up. Discover responsibly.
Welcome back to X Games Minneapolis. We're coming to you from our summer home here at US Bank Stadium. We're wrapping up heat number 2 of our women's skateboard park semifinal. Dropping in now, former gold medalist Lizzie Armanto, who's clinging to that 3rd and final spot to get into the final.
Doing that gap to invert again, I absolutely love seeing her do that trick. I'd never seen her do it before.
We're closing in on the 5-minute mark. The top 3 will move on to the final.
She did an eggplant over there in the deep end, which is the one I talked about, one of the hardest of the inverts. Having to pop in and not get tangled in your front hand that's planted on the coping.
And Craig, it really looks like after struggles on her first run, Lizzie Armanto is really connecting the dots as this contest goes on.
Here comes that eggplant.
That gap to invert that she did right in front of me, not that one, but the one where she gaps out to it. Her wheel clipped that pool coping, but she committed 110% and rode away from it. It's all going right for Lizzie right now.
That is contest mode right there.
13-year-old Masuku Okamoto, our current leader. It's not a stretch to say no one has skated better than her tonight.
That extension on her boneless is, I've never seen anybody do it like that.
Best boneless I've seen tonight, can confirm, Linz.
And that varial that she does, I want to make note of the fact that in part of her run, whether it's the beginning or after it, she skates with her board backwards. And for most of us skaters, that's a really funky, weird thing to do. Most boards are not shaped evenly and your trucks are different. And there was that huge 540 again.
She's making it commonplace that we're not even reacting to it
anymore. The consistency on that blows my mind. What an incredible little skater.
Are you not entertained, US Bank Stadium?
There's that varial. See, now the logo on the front of her board is in the front, whereas it was in the back before.
Masuku absolutely assaulting the deep end in the final few seconds of her run. She's just going back to back to back.
Mamita Zuka currently sitting in that third spot. Lizzie, by the way, bumped up to number 2 from her previous run, so now Mami sits in second. Or excuse me, third. And she goes down, potentially leaving the door open. Nicole Haas. No one's got a larger fan base here in downtown Minneapolis than the girl from Stillwater. Can she put her name into the top 3 and get into the final?
Oh, 50-50 in that huge rail in the middle of the launch box there. Definitely haven't seen any other girls do that. Oh, big alley-oop, but just coming off it. Doing it for the hometown fans.
So we're reaching the 2-minute warning here in our 18-minute jam session. Minna Stess currently in 5th place, trying to find that best run of the night to move into the top 3.
Big ol' Indy air over the launch box. Oh, taking a unique.
It seems like the ladies are really following Lizzie Armanto's path and shaking things up.
I love that little hand plant over the spine. Whoa, rolling out to rolling in. Getting an invert. Oh, and just stepping off that kickflip. She's a well-rounded skater who likes to skate everything.
And
so it's no surprise
given this new jam format, they are getting more runs than they would in traditional contests of years past.
Yeah, absolutely.
The stamina, very key out here tonight.
Right, and remember that the top 3 from this heat will end up going straight into that final with hardly any break.
Right, Bryce Wetstein. She had been in the top 3 all night. She got bumped out. This may be her last chance to state her case to get into the final.
Something the judges do look for is changing up your run and variety in the run. And that's, you know, Bryce has kind of kept the same run every time. That's something they're going to take note of.
So Lizzie Armanto in her 5th X Games appearance.
The clock is running out, so this will be their final runs.
Right, and if that leaderboard stays official, Lizzie Armanto will be moving on to the final. This is a preview of what's to come.
I want to grow up and do hand plants like Lizzie. Gap to hand plants. Oh, almost getting that board slide. Mixing things up.
A shakeup in the leaderboard. Bryce Wetstein's run got her back in the top 3, bumping out Mommy. Wow.
So this will be our top 3. Masuku's already in, and she'll drop in.
So now how does Masuku treat this?
She definitely doesn't know. Oh, way over the rail. Huge air over the rail. Just like Skye did in our first heat. Shaking things up from the run she's been doing into that big old backside 360. Just the extension, the height, the style of everything she does is just incredible. Big frontside air, missing that lean to tail, but it doesn't matter.
What a performance from this entire second heat in our semifinal, highlighted by 13-year-old Masuku Okamoto. And our results are in from Heat 2. Masuku Okamoto, Lizzie Armanto, and Bryce Wettstein have earned a spot into the final.
We might see tears from Bryce. She gets so excited and emotional.
So here's Bryce Wettstein's highlights from heat number 2. She saved her best for last, Lindsay, just knocking on the door, getting in right at the very end.
Lizzie.
And Lizzie Armanto, again, she's won this event before. She knows what it takes, but when it was all said and done, Masuku Okamoto was doing things no one else was doing, Lindsay.
It's not just like a, oh, I barely made it around. It's like a boosting 540.
Lizzie skated incredible in semifinal number 2. You got yourself into the finals. Did you save any gas in the tank for finals? Is there something we haven't seen yet?
Of course. I feel like I'm always struggling to like pick tricks to do just because I always want to do like everything, but there's no time.
You've got too much talent, too much tricks. We're going to see you in the final. Good luck. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Back to you guys.
So Lizzie Armanto will be skating in the final. Could she find gold like she did in 2013? She'll have to battle Masuku Okamoto, our top-ranked qualifier, when we return.
Welcome back, everybody. Happy.
The internet can be wild sometimes. I get terrible stuff on social media, in my DMs.
But the good news is that we can do something about it.
Right now, a movement of young people are stepping up to shred hate and choose kindness.
Help us flag and report hate accounts on Instagram and elsewhere.
Sign up to shred hate, choose kindness with DoSomething.org, ESPN, MLB, and No Bully.
Text SHRED to 38383.
DoSomething.org. Let's do this.
Welcome back, everybody. Jack Matrani here, your host. Look, action sports is built on inclusivity and choosing kindness. And I guarantee you, when you witness all these athletes winning gold medals, you'll see their fellow competitors rallying around them in celebration, because that's what it's all about. Ganging up together, pushing the sport together. And I don't know about you guys, but from what I just witnessed in the Women's Skateboard Park semifinals, the progression is like never before. And I can't wait to see how it shakes up here in the finals. And it sounds like it's about to go down right now, so I gotta get back to work. Thanks, Alex. I can take it from here, man. Thank you. Let's get this started. How do you zoom?
Jack is a great cameraman. Thank you, sir, and we welcome you to the Women's Skateboard Park Final here at US Bank Stadium. It's night 2 of X Games Minneapolis, and we've got a star-studded lineup. Headlined by Lizzie Armanto, a former gold medalist in this event. To no surprise, she qualified for finals. Let's now take a literal look inside the mind of Lizzie and her love for Harley-Davidson.
When I'm at a contest and they're about to call my name, I try to just have everyone that's around me just like almost not exist. I've definitely been in the zone and just been like, okay, I'm here, like, let's do this. I can like hear the sounds of what my board is doing. It's so crazy. The closest thing I could compare it to is like one of those days where nothing skips a beat.
I'm neuroscientist Dr. Don Vaughn, and we're here today studying Lizzie's electrical brain activity with a mobile EEG to understand what's happening while she skates and rides her Harley.
On a motorcycle, I feel like I'm just paying attention to so many different things, and I'm really alert.
Our data show that what Lizzie is explaining about focus is spot on. We conducted a study and found that experienced motorcyclists showed improved focus and increased levels of adrenaline while they were riding.
If you like focused on what's all going around you, you wouldn't be able to do what you wanted to do, and I can tune things out so easy.
So whether she's riding a skateboard or a motorcycle, Lizzie's brain activity looks similar in that she's able to tune out distraction and find clarity.
It's fun traveling the world and like skating all around, but it's also really exciting to come home and then go ride.
.com/xgames.
What's happening, everybody? Brandon Graham alongside the legend Lindsay Adams, Hawkins Pastrana. We are so excited for this final that features a 10-year-old, an 11-year-old, but it's the 13-year-old Masuku Okamoto who is storming this course.
Storming it. She just came in like a storm from the south. She's blowing up. She's going higher than anybody else, doing more difficult tricks than most of the girls, and she blows my mind. I don't even have words because it's so exciting to see her
Well, we need you to come up with something because we got a big final coming up. We had 2 semifinals to get us here to our top 6 in the final. We look back beginning at semifinal heat number 1, really picking up where she left off, our bronze medalist from last year, Sakura Yosizumi. She looked so polished and so in control. With so many newcomers, we wondered, was she going to rise to the occasion? And she looked so good all night, Lindsay.
She absolutely did rise to the occasion. We've seen progression from her since last year, but here is Masuku, who is just literally blowing doors off.
Masuku Okamoto in heat number 2 was a head above everybody else, and she was smaller than everybody else. And if you didn't get a chance to check out the semifinal, wait until she gets into this course, because she skates like somebody who would be a foot taller. A look at our competition format for the final. We've got 6 skateboarders. It's an 18-minute jam session, and it really comes down to overall impression, Lindsay. So this is how it will shake out here tonight in the final. A look at our start list. Bryce Wettstein kicking things off. She had to get in on her final run in her semifinal heat. And of course, anchoring this group of 6, the 13-year-old Masuku Okamoto. And I don't think I'm making any bold claims when I say this. Masuku has to be considered the favorite in this final.
Yeah, I definitely consider her the favorite. She just, like I said, I keep being lost for words, because she's just really pushing the envelope for women's skating right now.
So
and that's so exciting to see. But here's Bryce, another one of our young teenagers, making it into the final. That fakie 360 to feeble.
So as we said, Bryce Wettstein got in on her final run. I'm curious, Craig McMorris out on the course. What was her reaction when she found out she got in last minute?
She lost her mind, and rightfully so, because she's skating in the finals. I don't know if you guys watched the Boise qualifier when she qualified. She was in tears, and rightfully so. It's been a fairy tale ride for Bryce.
Not only did we watch it, Craig, we actually called it.
You were there?
Yeah.
In the broadcast.
Yeah.
You were there
Oh,
too,
yeah,
Craig.
I was there too, man.
I'm living one day at a time, guys, as is Bryce, because that was a solid first full pull.
A minute into our 18-minute jam, there we see 11-year-old Skye Brown. She won Dancing with the Stars Juniors just last year. It's her X Games debut, and she's skating in the finals.
Try not to smile when you look at her smiling. It's
Impossible.
really difficult.
Impossible.
That frontside 360 over the spine ramp is something no other girls are doing. That big old boneless right there. She has so much pop for such a little person.
By little, do you mean 4'5"?
I mean 4'5" and very few pounds.
Linz, I love the way she starts off her run like that, because she generates so much speed, and the biggest problem with this bowl is keeping that speed. So if you start with speed, you're probably going to keep it. That's what Skye's doing.
And watch
There's
this.
that frontside 540 again. Rodeo into the kickflip to fakie, hanging on just at the buzzer.
Again, making history, becoming only the 2nd female to land this trick at X Games.
Well, first one to land this particular one.
That is correct, the front side variety.
But yeah, 2nd woman to land a 540 at X Games. We got Masuku also in this heat, being the 3rd to land it at X Games, but only because she was in the 2nd heat.
Yeah, it's really just because of the order. So here's Lizzie Armanto. No one takes a more creative path in this course than the 26-year-old Santa Monica native.
Which is what the judges are looking for with this overall impression format, is girls who mix it up, do different tricks and different lines each run, and do things no one else is doing. For instance, that board slide, only a few girls were even touching that rail in the middle there.
Kokona Hiraki, 10 years old. She is now officially the youngest ever X Games female athlete. Making history, and this final just started.
Linz, how about that nose grab, or that nose grind, pardon me, every single time in semis and 1 for 1 in the finals?
Every time, and it just blows my mind every time when she pops back in so perfectly. Getting that board slide, oh, just coming off that backside kickflip on the bank there.
Again, it's amazing. A lot of kids maybe pick up skateboarding when they're 10 years old. How about competing on the biggest stage in the world at that age?
I was about 10 when I picked up skating.
Well, Kokona's at the X Games.
Yeah, so there.
Sakura Yosuzumi, our bronze medalist from last year. She was the top ranked in her semifinal heat.
Big backside air. Not a lot of girls utilizing that quarter pipe that she did that big air on. Big old 50-50 to fakie through that corner into that fakie Pop-Tart. When I say fakie, I mean that she's coming in backwards, opposite of the stance that she normally runs.
And if the pace feels a little quicker, to you watching at home, that's because this new jam format has replaced our traditional runs format. So the pace picks up, and a byproduct of that is the skaters are getting more runs than they traditionally would otherwise, Lindsay.
Yeah, and that's something that they're definitely super stoked about, to have a little less stress off of them since it's not your best run. If you fall partway through a run, you know you have more runs and that it's about your overall impression.
This course has been a playground for Masuku.
There's that varial she does that no other girl does, which means that part of her run she skated with her board backwards, and most skaters will tell you that's such a funky, weird thing to do. Generating so much speed out of those little legs. Big 540 into a lip slide, into the curl slide. Wow.
We're less than 6 minutes into this final, and we've already seen 2 540s.
There's that big backside 360 she does over the launch ramp. To her big mute 540. Just
her control.
So controlled, so smooth, so consistent. Consistency is a big factor in being a contest skater.
So there's a first look at our leaderboard. You see Masuku leading the way, Skye Brown right behind her, and Sakura sitting in third. But now it's time for the Encinitas native Bryce Wedstein's second run.
Coming in backwards again for that fakie 360. That time it was a pivot rather than a feeble. So mixing it up a little, always having fun out there. I'm loving the rainbows on the bottom of her shoes. Being someone who has 2 little girls at home, they would love those rainbow shoes.
So there we see 11-year-old Skye Brown in her X Games debut. A look at the youngest X Games medalist in history, all women here. Alana Smith still holding that record from Barcelona in 2013 at 12.5 years old. And of course, Brighton Zoyner, you saw becoming the youngest to win when she did it 2 years ago at 13 and a day. An injury is keeping her out of this event. She'll be unable to defend her gold. But now it's time for Skye Brown.
Big, huge air over the rail.
As she flies through the sky.
That's probably as tall as her neck. No mistake that her name is Skye, because she sure does spend a lot of time up there in the sky. Oh, that beautiful nose grind, grinding super far, popping in. Oh!
Blunt kickflip?
Into a blunt kickflip, which is so difficult because you're balancing up there, and then not only do you have to pop in, but you flip your board. There's that big old backside air over the rail, squatting it out, young knees.
That's what's amazing. Skye Brown, in her very first X Games, just 11 years old, understands that she's got to elevate her skating here in the final, and she's doing just that. Here's Lizzie Armanto, as you see, currently in 5th place.
Oh, no. So it's hard to tell, you don't see it a lot, but there's actually a doorway right there that she just fell over. That's so scary.
Kokona Hiraki. Not even 11 years old.
5 for 5 on that now.
Yep. Oh, frontside air disaster. That was sick. That's so hard to smack your board onto the coping like that. It's so scary because you think you might hang up. And she just committed. Into that board slide. Here's that backside kickflip.
Yes!
Yeah, she sticks it. That's such a risky trick. But it's so sick when she does it into that frontside nose grind, hanging on. Tail slide on that big old bank. Keeping up her speed, which is so difficult.
Just an absurd level of laser focus from the 10-year-old.
Linz, look at her feet on the landing of this. Just almost right together.
Full commitment. She says, I don't care, I'll adjust them.
Welcome to Stompsville, Kokona, Sakura, Yosuzumi, sitting in that bronze medal spot. We're at the halfway point here in our final.
She's one of 2 of our previous medalists in this final. Isn't that crazy?
Yes, only she and Lizzie Armanto have earned X Games medals before.
And they are the only ones who's even competed in X Games prior to now. The rest of the finals are rookies, which means that you could have a rookie sweep. Right now, the way the standings are, is a rookie sweep, and none of them are even teenagers.
And it would go 13, 10, 11, but I don't want to get ahead of myself because our current leader, Masuku, who is a 7th grader, has dropped in for her 2nd attempt.
7th grade, middle school, not even high school.
Now, Linz, I don't want to be the dark cloud here, but the only thing that Masuku could be doing better is maybe switching up her run. We've seen this run from her in semifinals and now twice in finals. She needs to add maybe a little bit of flair at the end. I'm not saying that 540 isn't full of flair, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, I totally agree. That is something that the judges do look for. They look for variety and mixing it up.
But in Masuku's defense, gang, someone's got to push her to do that. Right? Because that run right now has her in 1st place. Why shake it up if nobody is taking her off of that top spot?
And if one run is so amazing, you almost don't have to do the rest if nobody else is pushing past that impression you've made on the judges.
Come chase me is what I would be saying if I was Masuku. Bryce Wedstein trying to do just that. Can she crack the top 3 here in the final?
Fakey 360 into the lean to tail. Love how she spins out of that frontside 50-50. Mixing it up a little. Not a lot, but every trick that's different is something that the judges take note of.
A talented surfer as well. You see that influence in her skating. And Bryce Wedstein will see if that gives her any more improvement climbing up the ladder. But Skye Brown sitting in that bronze medal spot, shaking things up.
Big old boneless.
And she's just less than 2 months removed from a broken elbow, by the way. She was skating in a cast in June.
And competing in airing surf contests since then. Very well-rounded little
So
human.
Masuku, Kokona, and Skye Brown rounding out our top 3 right now. The current top 3 average age between those 3, 11 years, 7 months old.
Oh my gosh.
Again, things can change. Lizzie Armanto can absolutely invite herself into that party, but that's how it stands right now. Simply amazing.
Airing up to that slider to, oh.
So Lindsay just trying to get that run in here in the final. She's been unable to do it.
But she's mixing up her runs, and she's doing different tricks in every run.
She was on the outside looking in early in her semifinal heat.
She does have time. She has, you know, she's got this run that is definitely leaving an impression on the judges.
I'd say she's building right now.
She's building.
She's putting up the foundation. She's going to put the roof on this house that hopefully will get her on the podium in the next run, I think.
Right. That, again, is the beauty of this format. You can afford to build.
Oh, there she is, bumping up into 3rd place.
And she does just that. Armanto taking over that bronze medal spot away from Skye Brown. Kokona, the 10-year-old, still in silver medal position.
Oh.
She just continues to impress with the power and speed in which she skates with, particularly in this bowl, given her small frame.
Yeah. It's, you know, I had a chance to take a few runs with the girls a few days ago, and it's definitely really hard to keep your speed up in this, and some of these girls are so teeny tiny that they don't have as much strength. But then you have Masuku, who's also tiny and just all the strength. So.
Sakura Yosizumi, our bronze medalist from last year, right now on the outside of the top 3.
Up to that lip slide. She's got a lot of technical tricks, as well as she goes high on her airs. There's that backside 360. Super stylish, very committed.
A ton of first place finishes for her on the contest circuit so far this year. Can Sakura jump up into the top 3? A look at Masugu's Instagram. Had a fun dinner with Yumika Oda. Thank you for the team dinner. So Masuku on the gram there.
Big backside air over the rail. Tweaking it out.
With this, as we're closing in on the 2-minute warning, each of the skaters should get one more run
no.
as Masuku goes down. And then she pops back up.
By watching her in practice, I think she was headed to do a big old stale fish off the offset into that big old quarter pipe over there.
So the top of the list resets. Bryce Wedstein, so this guarantees that each of the skaters should get one more attempt.
Big lip slide. Looks like she's mixing up her run a little bit here. Lean to tail on that bigger quarter pipe.
At 5'9", Bryce, the tallest competitor in this final field. By a large margin.
Yeah. I want to know the height difference between her and our shortest competitor.
I think that would be 4'5" Skye Brown, which I'm just doing the math in my head right now. That's a foot 2 inches, a 14-inch difference. I just want to see them standing next to each other.
Right.
Speaking of.
Skye
Brown, now she was sitting in the top 3. She's now in 5th. This is her last attempt to get back into a podium spot here in her X Games debut. You see her shaking out the nerves.
What's it gonna be? There's that big old backside air into a nice tuck knee frontside air. Sometimes when you first learn a frontside air, you grab between your legs instead of wrapping your elbow around and tucking your knee to grab in the middle there. So she had a super stylish technique.
Stays on her board with 15 seconds to skate with.
I want to see this blunt kickflip so bad.
Oh!
No.
You have to give it to her though. She put it out there on her last run. So here's Lizzie Armanto. She's sitting in that bronze medal spot. She's earned a gold and a silver in this event. This is her last chance to move up the podium.
Oh, that was new. Big air into the frontside grind in the deep end.
There's no reason, if she stays on her feet, that she won't be able to catch Kokona.
Yeah.
In my personal opinion, let's say.
Right.
Nice alley-oop air. Oh, just
no.
stepping off. But the judges have seen that.
Correct.
So maybe it won't make an impact on them she fell on it.
That's where we
she's
come back to overall impression.
Right. And that was towards the very end of her run.
So Kokona currently in that silver medal spot, unless Lizzie may have passed her. We'll find out momentarily. This is her last chance to put an exclamation point here on her debut. She's the youngest ever to compete on the women's side in an X Games. Could she become the youngest to ever earn an X Games medal?
Next we have Sakura, who's our last rider that could bump her out. That could shake up the top three, basically.
Sakura Yosizumi, our bronze medalist from last year. This is her last chance to get back into the top three.
I'm literally holding my breath over here. Oh man.
Well, I'm gonna need you to talk at least for,
just for a little bit
at least
longer.
2 or 3 more minutes. Masuku Okamoto, what more can she do? We wondered, hey, could she possibly shake things up? We've seen a similar run all night long, but she's in first place.
She's in first place, and she's our last skater of the heat of the final.
Now those standings you
Oh
see,
my gosh.
obviously unofficial, but she has to feel good about where she is at the moment.
There's this stale fish I was talking about. Bam! So styly.
And she
Smith
gets it.
grinding over that doorway. What does she have left for us?
Last 10 seconds for the final run.
Big backside 360, squatting it out. The most extended boneless I've seen. And that is time, oh my gosh.
The game has changed. And it's led by that 13-year-old Masuku Okamoto. We await the final standings. But does she win gold in her very first X Games?
Oh,
she
there
does!
it is! Oh my gosh, she must be so excited.
And there it is, our podium. Masuku wins gold. Kokona becomes the youngest X Games medalist ever with that silver. And Lizzie Armanto earns bronze.
Wow. What a contest.
What a night for skateboarding, especially Japan taking first and second here tonight. 2 young ladies making their X Games debut, Lindsay.
And both medaling, and 13 and 10 years old. Are you kidding me right now? Their age together doesn't even make Lizzie's age.
Well, let's get a taste of the action as we head down to Craig.
Masuku, you skated absolutely incredible in semifinals. In finals, it looked like you had a plan. What was your plan? Obviously getting gold.
セミファイナルとファイナルすごくいい滑りができてたね。で、作戦があったと思うんだけど、どんな作戦だったの？
ケントプロ、レイさん、ケンスケプロが、考えてくれたルーティンを、だんだんそのルーティンを変えてって、
難しくしていくの？ So we had a strategy to kind of build up her runs as we, go into second round, third round, fourth round. And she was able to land the first 2 ones, so we were able to kind of build onto it.
Right on, one more quick question. Did you have fun?
楽しかったです。
Yeah, for sure.
Well, we had fun watching you, Masuku. Thank you so much. You killed it. Back to you guys in the booth.
There was no one better than this 13-year-old here tonight, Lindsay.
It just makes me smile from ear to ear. What an exciting future for women's skateboard park.
And congratulations to Kokona Haraki, the youngest X Games medalist ever. Want to remind you fans, this may be our summer home here in Minneapolis, but we go to Aspen every January, and mark your calendars, January 23rd through the 26th for X Games Aspen 2020. Well, that's a wrap here from Skateboard Park. Congrats again to our winner, Masuku Okamoto, but stay tuned for Colby Raha and the boys, Moto X Quarter Pipe High Air, when we return.